Hello, everybody. Today we have another game on corruption between two very skilled players. Here in the top right, we have the blue Corps Commander, Race, going vehicle first. And in the bottom left, the red Corps Commander, probably my favorite player. I don't mind to show favoritism, EXE. I really like EXE because he's always coming up with very unexpected and unique and kind of unorthodox strategies, and he's always a pleasure to watch. He's also a very cool guy, and so yeah, I do enjoy watching EXE games, but I'm sure both of these players are quite capable of stomping one another in the right scenario. Here we see a Race building a pulverizer first. That is an interesting choice. Typically, pulverizer and anti-air defense, but it can be used to kind of stop this weasel aggression early on, and it will just kind of make this whole area here immune to weasel harassment. So, very heads-up play there by Race. I might have to do that in some of my own games. Those early weasels can be very annoying, and it is interesting that he decided to build those pulverizers before the metal extractors, right? So he could have built the metal extractors first, gone kind of a greedier build, but he decides to build the defense and then the metal to be extra safe. That's one thing I love about Total Annihilation. You're constantly making these decisions about whether to it's like greed versus being very safe, and there's kind of a triangle where if you play a more greedy style, then you can get ahead if your opponent is playing safe. But if your opponent is being very aggressive and you play greedy, then they will punish you, and you will quite likely fall behind and maybe even lose the game. And so, yeah, it's always difficult to know how to play. Like I said, you can go greedy. You know, for example, in this scenario, Race could have built these 3 metal spots first, but then that scout may have killed his lone construction vehicle. And so, yeah, it's always interesting to see how the players decide to do things. You know, I have to say, watching these guys, they make it look easy, but there are a lot of very tiny decisions that aren't quite clear to the player that are going on here. Like I said, the decision to build a pulverizer before a metal extractor that can absolutely alter the course of the game, and either give you an advantage or put you behind. So for example, it doesn't look like EXE is going to... Oh yeah, he does finish this light laser tower just in the nick of time. That thing is basically at 1 hit, and that construction vehicle will survive. So again, if he had decided to build that metal extractor first and then the light laser tower, he would have lost them both, and maybe even more than that. So yeah, these very small decisions having a huge impact on the game. And I'm not sure if my sound is too loud here, guys. I think it should be okay. But I do apologize if the sound is up too loud. I want you to be able to hear the epic battle orchestra, but also I don't want to deafen you. But here we go. A couple instigators going to catch this construction vehicle, but it doesn't look like Race was going to... Doesn't look like Race was paying attention, so he probably could have stopped that construction vehicle, but focused elsewhere. And here in the top left, EXE going to find himself a juicy construction vehicle, and we'll certainly take that out. And now he's going to push up the left side here and probably get some harassment done. Defenders or pulverizers, not as good as light laser towers for defending against instigators. And there is some actual commentary coming from the spectators about that. Spectators saying light laser towers are better for defending than pulverizers. Personally, I have to say, when I'm playing a game, I do not like backseat driving. It very much annoys me when people that are spectating want to provide their unasked for opinions. That does very much anger me and put me on tilt. Though in fairness, it's not too hard to put me on tilt, but that is one way to do it. When I'm playing, you can just keep your thoughts to yourself, or share them with the other spectators. But please don't tell me how to play. I know that's silly, but yeah, that is that's one of my pet peeves. Do not backseat drive me, bro. But either way, no, these players, I'm sure they're not going to get tilted like I would. They'll be just fine. But I do have to say, EXE has done a good job of this top left part of the map. He's done a great job of kind of denying that to his opponent. And there's just constant battles happening all over the map here. Race coming down the middle with some levelers and instigators and AKs, but EXE doing a good job here of spreading out his defenses. But that's a lot of stuff, and this Race may get something accomplished here. He may, Race may be able to get some damage done, but no, EXE now on Reapers. EXE has quickly transitioned to T2, and that does explain the temporary delay. That was the reason why perhaps he was falling behind in terms of his army composition. He was definitely behind there, but that's because transitioning to T2 tech is expensive and time-consuming. So as you can see, that that slight delay there did cause EXE to lose quite a bit of his portion of the map, the southern side of Corruption, and but now he is on T2 tech, and so we'll have to see if that setback will be worth the advantage that T2 tech affords him. Certainly, these Reapers being the very heavy Riot tank, they just quite simply mutilate any kind of T1 unit in very impressive fashion. And wow, EXE really, in attempting to kind of catch up, he's got 3 advanced construction vehicles building Moho metal extractors all at one time, so he is EXE most certainly trying to get himself back into the game economically. It does look like they're about even on metal. Big fight happening here in the middle. And again, I apologize for the audio. Is it too loud? Do I need to maybe turn it down just a little bit? Let me know in the comments if the audio is too loud or if it needs to be louder. I think I would rather have it not loud enough than to hurt your ears. But I do know everyone wants to hear the game sounds, and it's kind of difficult for me to know what people prefer. But either way, Race on T2 as well, and now building some Pyros. Pyro's not really a great counter to Reapers, but they can just kind of avoid the Reapers. And Race putting on relentless pressure here. The whole northern portion of EXE's base has been deleted. And EXE struggling to reclaim his part of the map. Additionally, Race bringing down some bombers. So, yeah, in terms of map control, Race is doing better. But in terms of economy, EXE just spamming these Moho extractors anywhere and everywhere he can find a place for them. And that will put him ahead economically. So even though Race has more of the map. EXE has much superior technology in terms of his metal extraction capabilities. And so that's going to allow him to have a higher production rate than his opponent. And here in the middle, Manticores versus Pyros. These Manticores can outrange Pyros, and so it's not a great matchup for the Pyros. And Manticore's also having a pretty decent vision range as well, I believe. So they should be able to see things at quite a distance and be able to outrange those Pyros. Also shoot down these Thunders. Very nice. So yeah, Manticores being the hybrid battle tank can handle both Pyros and Thunders. But that's a lot of Thunders, and but still these Manticores are going to clean those up. But it does look like EXE going to run into a wall of cans here, and these cans, well, we've seen them in previous games, everybody. We saw it in, what was it, Krogoth versus FN. All Krogoth pretty much did was build cans, and those cans pretty much won him the game. So yeah, cans can win the game if your opponent refuses to build the right counters. Cans will just kind of run you over. They will slowly kind of waddle into your base. That's what they do, kind of waddle. And they will just waddle into your base and slowly but surely melt everything with their powerful green lasers until nothing survives. But having said that, EXE building these Goliaths, and Goliaths, a pretty decent counter to cans, I think. They are just... Goliaths just have such an unbelievable amount of HP, and they do a very impressive amount of damage. That overall a decent counter to cans, I would say. And so yeah, EXE doing a better job of countering the cans than did FN in that game that we watched. Cans are requiring some specialized counters to deal with. You definitely don't just want to keep building, you know, like Reapers and Manticore. Manticore do outrange the cans, but you need a lot of them, and Hurricanes as well. EXE was doing some scouting earlier, and now going to T3. So both players now seem to be kind of in a parity situation. Both players kind of demarcating their own positions and allowing their opponent to build up their forces as well. So for the moment, not much happening. And Race going to counter these Goliaths with some Dominators. Dominators, the... Core T2 missile K-Bot, and in escalation they do have a forward firing capacity, and these direct fire missiles can absolutely melt anything that walks into their quite considerable range. So they are a decent counter to Goliaths, simply because the Goliaths cannot get into range. If the player micros the Dominators correctly, the Dominators should have a good advantage in a prolonged fight. Now, Goliaths are very damn hard to kill, but these Dominators, they don't tickle, so yeah, they will eventually handle those Goliaths. And EXE gonna bring some Hurricane in here to get a little bombing done as well. Ugh, that's just so nasty to watch. The Hurricane's having a huge, kind of having a huge bombing radius, massive carpet bombing AoE, and it will, oh, it's just so beautiful to watch. The carnage, the destruction of, my god, EXE's control is unfucking real. Taking out some Gats here. Oh, these bombers, just kill them. Somebody please kill these damn bombers. They just oh, and taking out an advanced vehicle plant to add insult to injury. EXE, you monster. You absolute monster. He doesn't end up taking out the advanced K-Bot lab, but who really cares? He took out an entire army and some defenses and an entire advanced vehicle plant, and unreal, unbelievable. EXE, so scary to play against. He's almost done on T3 here, at which point he will be on T3 tech. EXE does seem to be a player that likes to tech up very quickly. It just seems to suit his play style to be ahead of his opponent on technology. But it is also one of the weaknesses of EXE as a player, because he has these moments where he's kind of rushing to the next tech level in which he is vulnerable. As you can see here, Race attempting to push into his base again. So can EXE hold off this attack for long enough to reach T3 and gain an advantage on the map here? He does have 6 resource generators. He's got some energy storages. Let's see what Race is doing. Yeah, certainly EXE having more energy, but Race has more metal. Race on 220 metal per second to EXE's 150. And I don't know exactly what accounts for that, except that perhaps Race just has more Moho metal extractors. He certainly has more of the map. EXE kind of pushed into a bit of a corner here, into a little box here at the south. And so, yeah, Race definitely ahead on metal here, quite a bit ahead, it seems like. It is fluctuating. But, yeah, Race better, definitely having the better map positionality. He certainly has more surface area. And so can EXE get out of this box? Can he break the Catane? Building some behemoths now. As I've said in previous casts, the behemoth really just kind of an upgraded Goliath. In every other way, it kind of functions as a Goliath. It just is a very slow-moving and tanky, hard to kill, and dishing out massive punishment to the enemy player and an AoE. But also expensive. Can EXE push his opponent back and try to regain a foothold on this kind of middle portion of the map? Race now bringing down these Dominators. And cans versus behemoths, I would certainly say the behemoths have an advantage here, as those behemoths are a veritable wall of health that those cans will likely have a difficult time chewing through. And here we go, another bombing run of Hurricanes from both players. Let's slow it down here. We've got both players on the Hurricane bombing plan. You can buy that at Verizon. And gonna take out at least a metal extractor there. He didn't quite get the Doomsday Machine. And in the meantime, EXE doing his own bombing. This advanced construction vehicle is going to go down. We got EXE bringing some Rapiers in here. And also doing his own bombing run here at the western corner of the map. Gonna take out some wind generators. That isn't really much. But these Rapiers doing absolute work up here. He does want to make sure he micros those so that they don't just sit on the ground. And there does seem to be a flak. Yep, there is a Cobra here. And this will be a problem. Race bringing down his Hurricanes into the southern base. He has marked on the screen, you see that blue X, the T3 vehicle plant there. And these rapiers continuing to dish out their impressive damage with near impunity. It doesn't seem like Race has any air defense in this area. He's got a couple slashers, but slashers are T1, and our rapiers have a decent amount of health. It will take a while for those few slashers to eventually take out all these rapiers. They will do it sooner or later. But now Race bringing down some hawks, some vamps, which is the core version of the air superiority fighter. And yeah, he's going to clean up these rapiers now, because that is what vamps are designed for. They rule the skies, and Race will rule the sky. So yeah, EXE still attempting to break out of this little box that he has been contained in. Both players doing a great, having some great engagements in the middle. But Race at such a massive economic advantage. Even though he's not on T3 yet, he is now working on T3. He's so far ahead in terms of metal. He's about 100 metal per second ahead of his opponent. And that is just, it's going to create perhaps an insurmountable scenario for EXE to break out of. Certainly it's not over yet, but EXE definitely behind, and he just doesn't have nearly as much of the map as does his opponent. He is ahead on technology, though. The question is, will that be enough? Will his technological advantage be enough to allow him to get back into this game? As I said, economically, he really needs to get more of a footing. Maybe if he built those mantle extractors, the T3 metal extracting structure, that could potentially give him a massive economical boost. But at the moment, his opponent way ahead, bringing down some vultures. I think that's what these are. Yep. The T2 scouting radar sonar spy plane. And these will give Race some very good vision of what's happening on the map here. These Goliaths and Behemoths will shoot into the air, but probably not be too successful at hitting these quite agile aircraft. And yeah, EXE saying no free scouting in my world, and does bring in his vamps to take care of that. But has he gone too far? There is some flak up here. He needs to stay out of the range of that flak. As you see, it will absolutely tear his squadron apart if given half the chance. But yeah, it does kind of feel as though Race slowly choking EXE out here. He just won't let him expand onto the map. There's so many metal spots still to be taken on EXE's side. And it just seems that every time he attempts to claim his territory, Race is always there to push him back and to make sure that he cannot effectively reclaim his portion of the map. So that is going to be very difficult. He is building mantle extractors now, as I mentioned before. These will give him an impressive economic boost. But is Race just too far ahead at this point? Race now on T3, so EXE has lost his technological advantage, and it does kind of feel like Race is just slowly taking over this game. Now pushing down the eastern corner of the map. But he will run into a couple behemoths, which should push back that force very easily. But is it just a matter of time? Race now matching the technology. Now building an upgrade center, which is going to make these behemoths even stronger. The upgrade center is a T3 structure, which gives you advanced radar targeting. It upgrades your commander to a beefcake, and makes your behemoths even stronger. Big air battle here in the middle. Race bringing in some rapiers to take out these undefended behemoths, and EXE did bring up his vamps, but Race with vamps of his own to curtail that aggression. So I would say here, Race also having air dominance over his opponent. And what can EXE do from this position to get back into this game? I do not really know. He's still behind, certainly, though the economic lead has shrunk, the economic difference between the two. The disparity is definitely less now than it was. But can EXE deal with these rapiers? Bringing in some vamps and a big air battle here near the center of the map. Dominators coming in from the eastern side. And EXE slowly crumbling to the pressure here, I think. These Dominators certainly want to stay out of range of the Behemoth. As you can see, if the Behemoth can get in range, it will easily tear those Dominators to shreds. So if they can stay out of range, that is an ideal situation. But yeah, Race in a very dominant position here. He feels very ahead. And even though EXE has almost caught up on metal, he's going to lose some metal here in this raid. And he's probably going to lose this Intimidator as well. Yeah. So that's a massive investment that just got deleted, and Race complaining that he built an Intimidator. Yeah, I have to say I don't I don't fully understand why people have a problem with things like long-range plasma cannons. But either way, EXE kind of recognizing that it's over. And overall, a very, very good game between those two players. You know, but I would say, yeah, EXE perhaps advancing to T3, perhaps even T2 as well, too quickly. In both cases, both times he advanced, whether it was either to T2 or T3, it did feel like it put him so far behind in terms of like map positionality, in terms of like holding his side of the map and just kind of quibbling with his opponent for for ground. That allowed Race to take more territory, and then EXE wasn't really able to ever effectively take that territory back. So yeah, a really close game, I would say, and EXE definitely had some amazing moments, but Race overall doing a better job, I think, of controlling the map and teching at the correct time so that he maintains control of the game and doesn't fall behind when he makes that massive leap, makes that massive investment to the next tier of technology. But yeah, a really interesting game there. Very fun to watch, and I'll see you in the next one.